What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my kingdom. All my kings, women, men. I just kind of figured, in the spirit of Halloween, I figured I'd talk to you guys about the biggest reason why I became so fascinated with Power Rangers. And that, of course, was the monsters. Now, guys, the first Power Rangers that I ever saw when I was a kid was actually Jungle Fury, I believe, from what I can recall from my youngest memories. And some of the monsters that I've seen there, especially in the later half of the season, definitely fascinated me. And as the series kind of went on and on and on, and more monsters were coming, I've always just been so fascinated with the designs. Like, you would be able to look at these monsters and say, like, that is a creature that I don't want to mess with. Like, these are like real threatening monsters. And not to mention the fact that each of them had a specific power that was much more different than the last one. And that's what really fascinated me because the thing is, guys, whenever a episode of Power Rangers was over, I was always just still thinking in my head, like, what's gonna be the next monster in the Power Rangers? Because that's what was always exciting me. Like, who's gonna be the next monster that the Rangers are gonna have to fight and eventually defeat? And it wasn't until that I started looking back at the earlier days of the Power Rangers that I realized that back then the monsters were really kind of goofy looking compared to what they look like today. And one thing I've noticed that as an adult, how the monsters look today is that they look so much more, well, not necessarily fearsome, but much more serious by comparison to how they look in the early days. Like back in the early Mighty Morphin days, the monsters, they look like something that you would see in a kid's comic book or something. But the monsters nowadays, they look like something that came from a child's worst nightmare. Like it's really fascinating to me how decades of the Power Rangers being the thing, how the creators have created a unique and distinct design for each of the monsters. And it almost seems like they never seem to run out of ideas. And what I'm about to say, guys, may be very controversial, but I actually find the monsters, in terms of design in the Power Rangers franchise, much more interesting and fascinating than any monster in any kaiju film that I've ever seen. Like, from Godzilla, Gamera, King Kong, the Pacific Rim, and any other kaiju films that I might have missed. Like, from those films, you kind of know what to expect. Like, from a Godzilla film, you expect the films to progress. You expect Godzilla to, well, look like Godzilla. You expect Mothra to look like Mothra. You expect King Ghidorah to look like King Ghidorah. But with the Power Ranger monsters, you never really know what they're going to look like. Like, one monster could look like a half tiger, half shark something, and then the next one looks like a sentient teapot. Which I'm pretty sure in Power Rangers Ninja Steel there actually was a sentient teapot monster. But regardless, I just always found those monsters in Power Rangers to be much more fascinating and cool looking than any kaiju monster that I've ever seen. And the real thing is, I've always found the robot monsters in Power Rangers the best ones, like my most personal favorite. Because when it comes to like weapons and like powers and stuff, you're always thinking like, what kind of abilities would a robot like this have? And the main Power Rangers ones that had robots in them, like Zeo, RPM, and then of course Beast Morphers. And I'm pretty sure there were a couple others in there that I might have missed, but yeah, like those monsters were always the most fascinating to me because the truth is, guys, I don't know if I told you guys this in previous videos, but I've always been a very serious robot fan. Like, you give me a series that has robots in it, I'm pretty much in your hands at that point. And some of the robots, especially in RPM, were definitely, they definitely look threatening. Like, some of them, if I ever encountered in real life, they would definitely scare me. Especially that one attack bot in RPM that had the chainsaws. Like imagine running into that in real life. Like, you have no weapons, no powers, no nothing, and that thing's just coming at you. Like, what do you do in that situation? But some of the real kooky looking monsters that I really wanted to talk to you guys about have definitely stuck with me. Like, that is a very creative monster. Like the one I have on screen right now, like the eye guy. Now, guys, I haven't seen the full entirety of the episode that he was in, but the clips that I have seen, his abilities as a monster is really kind of creative. Like, he's literally nothing but a colony of eyes, and it seemed like every time you destroyed him, he just come back together. And the when I saw him, it seemed like the only thing that you could do to destroy him was just to obliterate all of his matter, like every single inch of his being, so that way he can't form back together. That in of itself is a really creative design and a really cool concept for a monster. Now, the next monster I want to talk about is Pumpkin Rapper. Now, the fact that Rapper is like part of his name, that's already creative in itself. But the fact that it's not just that he's a sentient pumpkin, but it's the fact that his head is upside down, then you would think of a traditional pumpkin headed monster would look like. That is really creative and a very good concept. Now, I don't recall which Power Rangers he was in when I looked up for the photo, but regardless, I definitely will say that what he may lack in, like, in terms of his overall design, definitely makes up for his head and the fact that, well, he's a rapper, of course. And the final one that I definitely want to talk about that I'm pretty sure most OG Power Ranger fans remember is the big chicken from Mighty Morphin. Now, guys, his voice alone pretty much sold me for a goofy monster. Like the fact that he looks like a mutant chicken, for example, that already kind of sold me and actually let me know what how this monster was going to be. But the fact that he had a giant pair of scissors for attacking, like, you can't possibly get more creative than that. And not to mention the sounds that he made whenever he was attacked, especially when he was destroyed. Like, I honestly can't get those sounds out of my head to this day. Like a couple years ago when I watched the clip of the fight, like to this day I still can't get that fight out of my head, and it's still way too funny to me. And overall, the Power Ranger monsters as a whole are truly what I believe is what holds the franchise together, because it seems like every single time, at least to me, in my opinion, every single time when I watch Power Rangers, I've always been so excited to see who the next bad guy was and what he had in store for the Rangers. Because you have to think, as the series goes on and as each episode happens one after another, you have to think like the next monster has to pose a different kind of challenge for the Rangers, because if it was the same threat level as each monster, there really wouldn't be any threat. There wouldn't be any tension. There really wouldn't be an overall threat to the city and the planet that the Rangers are trying to protect. Like, if you don't have a memorable and intimidating monster, then you really don't have the high stakes that the Power Ranger is. Yeah, I mean, that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to give you guys a little quick something for Halloween, I guess. Considering, I didn't really do anything for the last one. And I guess, you know, and this was really a video that I wanted to get off my chest for some time, so I figured, and since it's about monsters, why not post on it on YouTube on Halloween? But yeah, guys, be sure make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video that I'm gonna upload later today, and I will see you guys back in my kingdom later.